Before I get to the painting, I want to show you what I did with the arm. The arm didn't fit well. There were some gaps. So what I did is I took the Aves Fix-It, A and B, mixed them together, and then I took the solvent. And what I did is I placed the Aves on here, took the solvent with a brush, coated that, and then coated the inside of the arm here, and then I put it in, and then I pushed it, and then I slowly pulled it away so it wouldn't stick to the other part, and then I let it dry. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the excess and file it all down, and then I'll be back. Went through about 5 rounds of priming and sanding and priming and sanding. But now I have it where I want it, so I can stick the arm in, and then I've got a nice clean joint all the way around. I'm going to leave it off because it's going to make it easier to paint the hand and paint the chest, but now that it's a good joint on there, once I get all that done, then I can glue it on and it'll look great. So now I can move on to the next step. I did some pre-shading in the primer. I mean, what I sprayed it with first is this Stynylnet Res Gray primer, and then I sprayed it from beneath with the black, and then lightly came with it with the white on top. This is just to kind of give me an idea of the highlights, stuff like that. So I'm gonna let this dry and then move on to some actual color. Okay, I went over, I did a few more little blemishes and sanding here, so I have gone over with one more coat of the gray Stynylnet Res primer. So now finally we can put some color on it. So I'm going to put some skin tones on and then I'll be right back. Alright, I've got some flesh tone on there. This is only 2 coats of each. So I started with the GarageKits.us Garage Kit Flesh, which is more orange. And then I did 2 coats on top of that with the GarageKits.us Bronze Flesh, and that's more yellow. So there's 2 coats on there. I'm gonna let this dry a little bit longer, and then I'll come in with some shading. I want to do some pre-shading, so I'll do that and then I'll come back. Did some pre-shading with the GarageKits.us Light African Flesh. Now I will go back to the Bronze Flesh and coat everything again, then I'll be back. I've gone and done some extreme highlights just in areas like on this thigh and this thigh, a little bit on the top of the abdomen, and then of course some here on the breasts, and then the tops of the arms and the face. So what I'll do now is I'll come back with I did that with this Virgin Flesh, GarageKits.us Virgin Flesh. So now what I'll do is I'll go over with another light dusting of this Bronze Flesh, and then I'll be back. I've got the flesh tones where I want them for now. What I did is I just took some regular Krylon matte finish and lightly dusted over the entire model to seal the paint. I'm going to let this dry overnight. I may go in afterwards and do some more shading somewhere, some highlights somewhere else, but so far it's where I want it. So I'll do all that off camera, and then when I come back I'll start working on some different colors. After going back and forth on this skin tone, I finally got it to a point where I'm happy. There's got to be at least 20 or 25 coats on this thing, and I'd actually had it to a point I liked it, and I masked everything off, you know, to spray the boots and everything. But I took it off, and then a chip came off here on the shin, and then the same with doing the armband. I'd painted it black, masked off, and a chip came off of there, so I had to go back in and sand that down a little bit and then repaint everything. So it looks like I'm going to hand paint everything else. I need to do the black obviously on the boots, but on the jewelry, because the jewelry is gold, and whatever gold paint you have you want to put on top of a black so that it looks more gold. Anyway, I'm going to do the black, do the boots and the armband and the black on the jewelry, and then I'll come back and show you that before I move on to the color for those. I was able to remask the boots and to remask the armband. So after I masked all that off, I sprayed both with the Vallejo Mecha Color Pure Black. Then I went over that on the armband with the Vallejo Mecha Color Light Steel. And after that was dry, then I went in with this Menatare Ghost Tint, and this was the orange, which is what gives me this gold color. And then I sealed everything. Then I started on the red. I took this Vallejo Train Color Basic Red and I made a real light wash. I took that wash and I put it in the eyes and I put it on the lips, and there are grooves on the suit, so I went in with a real small brush and got that wash into the groove so it would give me a line to follow. And once that was dried, I took that same basic red and I mixed in some modelworx mahogany to darken it up a little bit and painted the entire suit. The eyebrows and the eyelashes on the eyes I did with just a regular mechanical pencil, HB lead. I drew that on, and then for the eyeballs I went in with this Vallejo Game Color Bone White. So now I'm at the point where oh, and I also did the collar in that bone white, and I'll take some regular white and lighten up some of the edges. So now I'm going to go and put the eyes in, and then I'm going to paint the hair and paint the rest of the jewelry, and then I'll be back. I got her eyes done, and I did her hair, painted her hair. The eyes, I used these Archer's Fine Transfers. I'll put a link in the description below to the website. I still have some more to finish. I may not finish her by tonight, and this is Halloween. It's not my best work. I mean, a lot of it I really do like, but some of it I don't. Especially the more I started working on the hair, the more rough the sculpt was, so it made it difficult to get into spots to get paint in there. Plus I don't use a brush that often, so I'm not as good at doing it by hand as I'd like to be. But I will finish her up and do a finale. So this is going to do it for part 2. I want to thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for subscribing, and I'll see you guys for the finale.